What's good, guys? Welcome back to All About Arsenal. And today, Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. So I know the first thing a lot of people are going to say is that, yo, Dyer, where you been? Listen, international break, I was missing. Because at the end of the day, I feel for me, it spoils the flow. Some people might beg to differ and say that, yeah, have to play for your countries, have to be passionate. I get all of that. But to be honest, when I was looking at Arsenal today, especially that first half, I started to realize sometimes the international break can actually break the flow a bit, especially when you're used to playing in a particular system and now you spend almost 2 weeks adjusting to another system, having all the guys coming back, a couple of them are jet lagged. You can see it. And I don't think it was just Arsenal, but I believe other teams were also experiencing something similar as well. But let's get to the game. Spoiler alert. Arsenal won a game, just in case you didn't know. First half was a little bit concerning. Fulham are a bogey team for Arsenal, and these are the teams, West Ham's and the Fulhams are the teams 2 seasons ago where the Achilles heels of Arsenal, and everybody can look back and say that draw with West Ham, that 2-2 draw, the penalty that Saka missed in that game, people can look back to that and say, listen, those teams were our Achilles heels, our stumbling blocks, the reason why we couldn't quite get over the line. But things have changed. Arsenal are on a different trajectory. And today was another confirmation of that. The first half was a shambles, to be honest, from my point of view in regards to Arsenal. The passes, so many loose passes. Gabriel had a couple of loose passes. Eze, he lost the ball once in a central position. Timber as well, made a few errors as well. All around, not just the players I'm mentioning. So I'm not trying to pick out anybody or single out anybody in particular, but in general, they were not flowing. The passes was not flowing. They were not direct. They started to play a little bit like the Arsenal of old. They weren't really direct like what they did. Like the display against Newcastle, they were just on the front foot. As soon as they get the ball, release, pass, make the run, cut inside, shoot. We didn't see that in the first half. And one of the other reasons, besides coming back from the international break, the flow is broken a little bit. But because Fulham are a bogey team and there's pressure on Arsenal and they know we've lost to these teams in seasons past, we need to get past these teams and bring a statement. I was always confident that Arsenal would win. I was deep down, even though in the first half things were not going our way, I was confident we would win, right? Second half, Arsenal, complete different team. Saka, Bukayo Saka, man, listen. When you're talking about a captain's performance, that is what Bukayo Saka did. He knew the ramifications. He knew how important this game was because this was a very important game to Arsenal, not just to lay to rest the demons that we have against playing these bogey teams who sit in a low block. But you know that it's going to be a chance for us to build even more confidence going forward for the rest of the season. Right? This was one of those games, if we didn't win, people are going to turn back and say that was the game that we missed out on winning the Premier League. That was the game that if Arsenal had won that, things would have turned around. And I'm happy for the boys because nobody can turn back and say, they should have done well in that game. Newcastle, they did it. West Ham, they did it. Fulham, now we've done it. Good results. 1-0 to the Arsenal. Saka stepped up like I've never seen him step up in a long time. He's doing that captain's armband justice. And I'm sure Martin Odegaard will drop him a message and he's going to say like, bro, you're wearing that armband well in my absence. Well done. Second half, he was a man on fire. His passes, the intricate passes he was finding, he was beating his man now almost all the time. As opposed to the first half, he was just skipping past players. Won a penalty. VAR got involved, overturned it. Let me know what you think in the comments about VAR. Do you think VAR is now re-refereeing games and spoiling the flow? However, I do think there are some times that, you know what, it's good that VAR was there, especially when you've got those opportunities like, you know, was that really offside? And you know, us have got the semi-automated system that actually helps considerably well. So VAR can actually have its benefits, but there are times that we can see that once the referee gave his on-field decision, then after when he gets blows the whistle, they call him over to have a look. I knew, listen, we ain't gonna get it. And at that point in time, I don't know about every other Arsenal fan, but I sat in my chair thinking, if we go on to draw the game, we're going to look back and say, you know what, that was the penalty. We should have got that penalty. Saka would have put it away. It'd have been 2-1. But luckily that didn't happen. 9 minutes of stoppage time, but Arsenal held on. But no, I'm not even going to say that Arsenal held on. I would say that, but Arsenal were comfortable. If you look at the stats, and the stats were quite interesting. Fulham had 9 shots in the whole game. No shots on target. That is what Arsenal are doing. Another clean sheet. Arsenal in all of our games across all competitions, Carabao Cup, Champions League, Premier League, we've only conceded 3 goals, right? Man City enjoyed first place for about 3 hours. Arsenal took the reins back. Liverpool to play tomorrow. Let's see what happens. But back to Arsenal. Before I go off on track, very good performance from the lads. Like I said, Saka was man of the match for me. He stepped up. The goal, came by Trossard. And a lot of people are going to start dancing and saying, set piece FC, ole, ole. I don't give a monkeys. At this moment in time, there's always going to be teams that you're a bogey team, and Fulham are one of them. And them at home was always going to be tough. And us coming with that mentality that we came to win. And we came to win and we won the match. We were not playing to just settle for a draw. We played to win and we got the win. Lovely set piece by Saka. Corner, flicked on by Gabriel. Gabriel so dangerous. Lovely intricate flick with the back of his head. It hit Trossard's knee into the goal. I don't care. People are going to say, Arsenal, open play. We don't score a lot of goals from open play. I don't care. When you win the Premier League at the end, a lot of people are just going to say you won, right? And even besides the goal we scored, at the back, we were solid. We were solid. There was not one time I sat there and I thought to myself that, this could be a bit shaky. Fulham didn't have a good 5-minute spell of applied pressure on Arsenal. That's how defensively solid Arsenal are. It was a good performance. And why I say good performance, because there are games that are going to be cagey. There are games that are going to be difficult to win. There are games when you've got teams like Fulham who are going to sit in a low block or mid block against Arsenal. What can you do? So when people are complaining about set piece FC, ole, 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 this is what I'm going to say. When teams are sitting in a low block, what can you do? You can't always go through the middle. It's not always going to work. So set piece, whatever weaponry, whatever weaponry, what I was trying to say, that's in your Arsenal, use it. If it's set piece, then use the thing. And that's what we did, and we got a goal. So I know what a lot of people are going to say, Arsenal can't score in another way. But guess what? Deep down, there's a hatred for it because we're so efficient at it. That is the big difference. And people don't like the fact that we're so efficient at scoring. And people have to give it. I believe deep down, a lot of rival teams, they envy it a bit. Even though they won't come out and say that, Arsenal don't envy you, set piece FC, you can't do anything else. I think there's a subtle envy. And the envy is that to have something that you're so efficient at, that you know that we're able to pull a goal, right, from that particular situation. It's like Man City with Haaland. Man City are not always the greatest, let's be honest, right? But they've got Haaland, and Haaland can score. He's their weapon, right? But obviously I can say, if something happens to Haaland, what happens then? I'm not saying anything, I'm just saying, because they're over-relying on that kid. But Arsenal, anybody can score a set piece. Anybody. It could be Gabriel, it could be a tap-in, whoever. And that's what I like, we've got that. And it's a great weapon against teams that sit in a low block because it opens them up, right? That set piece swings in. You've got Gabriel that causes so much chaos, confusion for the opposition. We need that. And we won the match. And I'm proud of the boys because now this is a different Arsenal you're seeing. It's not the Arsenal of 2-3 seasons ago where we're top of the table and as fans, we're thinking, can they sustain this? Something is different about this team. And the word I can pinpoint, maturity. Those players now are older, 2-3 years older, more experienced. And you can see it on the pitch. They can see out games easily. Like, no goals are getting conceded. Arsenal are a solid team. And when you're hard to break down, when you're hard to score against, that's a frustration for a lot of teams. And I'm just going to track back to something that Arteta said, which just shows the evolution of Arsenal, right? And a lot of people didn't like it, what he said, especially when we had that 1-1 draw at the Emirates against City. And he made the comment that Pep has never turned to that defensive structure all his career, professional career, as we know of. At that time, a lot of Arsenal fans were frustrated because we kind of felt that, listen, go on and win the game, right? That's what we should have done, in my opinion. But we didn't. I get it. But now, when I look at it now, I am seeing that the way teams view Arsenal is different. They see Arsenal as a very, very, very big threat. So if teams are going to be sitting in this low block constantly or mid block constantly, if set piece is the only way to get it done, just get it done. But the difference is now we do have a little bit more spark and creativity. Eze should have done better today. He was decent. He wasn't really there. If I could give his performance, I'll say it's a 5-6, 5. He wasn't spectacular. The thing I'm saying about Eze, and the reason why I'm saying is because with Odegaard out, and I miss his through balls, I miss those intricate passes that open up defenses. With Odegaard out, Eze is the main creator along with Saka. Now, one thing about Eze, he pushes forward a lot. With Odegaard, he'll stay a bit deep. That's why having Eze and Odegaard works, right? So Odegaard would stay a bit deep and pick out lovely passes, intricate passes through balls. Eze can do that, but he likes to attack more. He likes to get in more goal-scoring positions. But when we are in a match that we need to open up the team more, it would be great to see Eze dropping a bit deeper, collecting the ball and start being the maverick, the magician that he is, right? That's just one thing on the side. He was subbed eventually for Marino, which I think was a good move. As soon as we got the ball, the goal, we brought in Marino, Eze off, and that was just tactical. Let's now strengthen the midfield with a stronger presence. We've got the goal, so we don't need to attack anymore. Let's not be exposed, which was a good move by Mikel Arteta. But we didn't just stop attacking. Whenever we got opportunities on the counter-attack, we did the best we could. We could have had another 2 goals, but 1-0 to the Arsenal is a song that always rings in my ears, and every other gooner out there. But let me know what you think in the comments. This solid performance by Arsenal, do you think Arsenal can continue this and actually win the Premier League? I say it like this. If Arsenal can continue doing this, I think if Arsenal can go on a good run by Christmas, I think we win the league. Now we've got all of our difficult games out of the way. We've got Newcastle. We won. Man City, we drew. Liverpool, we lost. Right? Man United at Old Trafford. I don't care about the state of Man United. It's the fact that it's at Old Trafford and that's always a hostile atmosphere. We won, right? Who else did we play that was a little bit tough? One of our then we had our bogey teams, West Ham and Fulham. We've won. This is a different Arsenal side with a different mentality and the maturity to win major honours. But let me know what you think in the comments. Can Arsenal actually continue this run? Can we do it at the end? Can we bring home that silverware that the fans desperately are crying out for? Until the next time.